A woman lured a man out into the woods where she shot him in the head, execution style, killing him. And I am on her side. Let's talk about why. So today we're talking about Chelsea Perkins, a 35-year-old woman from Alexandria, Virginia, who just pleaded guilty to second-degree murder using a firearm during a violent crime on federal property. But there is so much more to this case, and we're going to get into this right now. Now, Chelsea Perkins was a 35-year-old U.S. Coast Guard veteran who, upon retiring from the military, became an OnlyFans model. She is also married and has children. But in 2017, she claims that she was raped by Matthew Dunmeyer, a 31-year-old man from Northeast Ohio. Now, after being assaulted, Chelsea did everything right. She filed a police report. She was trying to get justice for what happened to her and make sure that Matthew could never do this to another woman ever again by following the legal procedures. But unfortunately, the police weren't that interested. They said that there wasn't enough evidence. They failed to bring forth the actual charges that would have put Matthew away and made all of this a moot point. But when they failed, Chelsea was not satisfied, and she took things into her own hands.
Chelsea Perkins, an adult performer with an OnlyFans account, a wife and a mother, an admitted killer. Prosecutors said Perkins traveled from out of state to meet the victim, Matthew Dunmeyer, before killing him and trying to cover up her tracks.
It's at this point that I want to point out exactly how much I hate our media, because they made damn sure to make a point of the fact that she had an OnlyFans, but absolutely no mention of the fact that she was a veteran that served our country.
In March 2021, hikers discovered Matthew Dunmeyer's body in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. He died of a gunshot wound to the back of his head. Investigators found Dunmeyer and Perkins spent the night together at an Airbnb before he was murdered. 9 months later, FBI agents arrested Perkins, a 31-year-old mother in Florida.
Now, a lot of you might be wondering, why would the FBI get involved in a simple murder case? That doesn't necessarily fall under their jurisdiction. Well, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park is federal land, and any crime that's committed on federal land does fall under federal jurisdiction. Therefore, the FBI was called in to help handle this. I also want to point out that it took the feds 9 months to build this case. If that doesn't show you that the feds are never in a rush, their main goal is to build an airtight case that you're not going to be able to work your way out of, I don't know what will. But they did build an airtight case, like the detail that they went to make sure that they would get a conviction on this woman is absolutely staggering.
According to prosecutors, she left an evidence trail behind. Documents show investigators tracked the white smart car that picked up Dunmeyer back to a U.S. Coast Guardsman who used to live in Northern Virginia, Chelsea's husband. Turnpike records revealed Perkins drove from Ohio to Michigan the same day as the murder to get a tattoo.
And yes, she did get a tattoo while she was there, but it was actually a celebration tattoo that she got after killing this man. A celebration for finally getting justice against the man who had brutally raped her.
They said her DNA matched samples taken from Dunmeyer. This case has faced delays for years. Just over a year ago, Perkins rejected a plea deal. According to court documents, her attorneys were going to argue self-defense. Back in 2017, Perkins had previously accused Dunmeyer of rape, but he was not prosecuted.
Now, I know that a lot of you are probably asking yourselves, if she reported this, why wasn't he prosecuted for this? Like, he should be in prison, and this woman shouldn't be facing this case. Well, the reality is, a significant portion of rapes reported to the police do not result in prosecution. While 18 out of 100 reported rape and sexual assault cases lead to just an arrest, according to a study at UMass Lowell, fewer than 7% result in convictions. This means a large number of reported cases are either dropped due to insufficient evidence or victim non-cooperation or other factor. And that UMass Lowell study is very generous. Most studies, the majority of them, report that only a small percentage of rape cases lead to felony convictions, with some studies estimating less than 1%.
We spoke with Matthew's uncle, Dan Dunmeyer, a year ago.
It was a shock.
He tells us his nephew was an aspiring musician who came to Cleveland after growing up in Virginia.
I mean, if you have ever met him, I mean, you couldn't even think this kid could harm a flea. Nonetheless, harm anyone else.
It's what friends and neighbors have said about almost every serial killer ever to exist.
After Matthew's death, his mother Tommy, back on the East Coast, tried to track down the suspect on her own, according to her brother. But investigators say she shot the wrong woman at a home in Washington, D.C., where she knocked on the front door disguised as a UPS driver.
So Matthew rapes Chelsea. Chelsea kills Matthew out of revenge. Matthew's mom goes and hunts down Chelsea to kill her out of revenge, gets the wrong woman. Like, this mom went so far as to even steal a UPS uniform to be able to have the perfect disguise to get this woman to the door, and then she airballs it and kills the wrong chick. That's insane.
That woman survived, but as police closed in, Tommy took her own life.
It's like a movie. It was all so surreal. Losing Matthew and then his mother, 6 months later. I mean, it's been rough. It's been a rough couple of years.
Honestly, I feel bad for Unc. Clearly, this has been rough on him. He's lost 2 family members that he cared about. I don't feel bad for Matthew, and I don't feel bad for Tommy. I feel like they made their own beds in this situation, but to the people that they care about, my sympathies go out to you.
The federal public defender's office representing Chelsea Perkins told me no comment in this case. Sentencing is scheduled for September 9th.
So like we discussed, she did just plead guilty to second-degree murder in a plea bargain. Now, this plea bargain allows her to get second-degree murder instead of first-degree murder. This was clearly premeditated. If they would have gone all the way to trial, they definitely would have gotten that first-degree murder if they won, and it would have been a natural life sentence. This takes this down to the sentencing guidelines for a second-degree murder is going to be 20 to 25 years in prison, that ain't no punk, bro. Like, that is a large chunk of time that she is facing. What is wild to me, like one of the hardest parts of this to fathom to me, is that she had a public defender on a literal murder trial. That is crazy, bro. Nobody bred it up for her at all whatsoever. Nobody in her life. She ain't had nothing stashed to the side. Nobody cared enough about her to get her a real attorney. That's nuts, bro. That's putting a nail in this woman's coffin. But look, if she would have taken this to trial, I truly believe that she was going to lose. They had substantial evidence. They have the murder weapon with her DNA on it. They had GPS data. They had social media data. They had phone records and ballistics. They had everything that they needed, including a suicide note that she had been writing and drafting for her victim so that she could later write it out and leave it at the scene of the crime, but she ended up not doing that. That's basically a confession that they found inside of her phone. Here's the thing though, and this is why I'm with her on this, and I genuinely want to know what you guys think. This woman wanted justice. She wanted some sort of revenge for what was done to her against her will. You get up in my booty hole, bro, you take my body from me, you're gonna have to go in a hole, dog. I'm gonna kill anybody who forcibly puts themselves up my ass. And I don't expect anyone else not to do the same. She tried to do things the lawful way. The law failed, so she took things into her own hands. She was a veteran. She was trained to be able to do combat. This dude was a little scrawny ass metal musician. Don't know how he bested her in the first place to be able to force himself upon her, but after it happened, for her to exact her revenge, I'm not mad at it. Are you guys? Let me know if you agree with what she did, whether it was right or wrong, in the comments. And until the next one, it's always one love, baby. Be good or be good at it. If you take my butt hole, I'm gonna murk you. Yeah, I take that shit real personal, and I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna murder you. Gonna murder you. Bitch, I'll murder you.